Today, on our beautiful day, we're going to be talking to Neria. She comes to visit us today on Kingdom Action Media. I thank the Father that she came out to spend time with us, and I'm hoping that we can get some stuff situated so that everybody be on the same place. So, how you doing today, Miss Neria?
I'm doing pretty good today. I have no complaints whatsoever. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, and I'm glad to be in the neighborhood.
Okay, that sounds good to me. So, we're going to talk about something dealing with anxiety. It says everybody deals with anxiety from time to time. But when everyday feelings of nervousness turn into intense and persistent feelings of fear, it may rise to the level of a diagnosable anxiety disorder. Okay, so if you're struggling with an anxiety disorder like social anxiety or generalized anxiety, know that you are not alone. The National Institute of Mental Health estimated that nearly 1/3 of U.S. adults will deal with an anxiety disorder at some point in their lives. Since anxiety is a common mental health condition, it's recommended that all adults under the age of 65 receive routine anxiety screening. So what do you think about that, Neil? Give me your insight on what that sounds like to you or look like to you.
First, I want to say that, even if you're over 65, you probably need to look into that. But
Right.
I think that it's very important for mental health because sometimes, you can have a little fear, and then as that fear grows, it becomes anxiety,
Right.
and it can cause you to be stagnated, and no one wants to be stagnated.
That's true. That's true. And there's treatment options that like therapy, medication, self-care strategies, and lifestyle changes that can help you manage your anxiety or help you live your life, at least a life at home, at work, and in your relationship a little bit better. And so things like that will probably be like, I guess I'm assuming would be a better way of dealing with stress, depression, and things like that. So in a subject that is indebted like this, I look at a place, it's called verywellmind.com, and it gives a pretty good insight to different types of anxiety issues. So what do you think about when they say, what is chronic anxiety? That's probably one of the things that we deal with that people don't talk about much. So everyone feels anxious from time to time. Most people occasionally worry about things like work, school, finances, family, friends, or health. However, if you often find yourself feeling fearful or anxious or feel like you're worrying constantly, you may have an anxiety disorder. Chronic anxiety is a form of anxiety that persists for a very long time. Treatment can make it better, but it may not go away completely. And this was from Amy Duramis, a doctor in psychology or a licensed clinical psychologist. And they talk about the different types of chronic anxiety. So some of the situations they look at is anxiety or anxious thoughts, excessive unwarranted worry, fear or panic, repeated obsessive thoughts, difficulty controlling anxiety, restlessness and difficulty in relaxing, irritability, rapid heartbeat, shortness of breath, dry mouth, nauseated, muscle tension or pain, headaches, stomach pain, sleep disturbance, tiredness or fatigue. So let me ask you a question, Nia. Did you ever feel that you have ever been through any of those symptoms before?
I think maybe some obsessive thoughts at points, but then after a while, those tend to dissipate. restlessness and difficulty in relaxing sometime, but that's if my day has been really busy
Right.
and I'm really tired. Headaches, most definitely. If I'm stressed out with anxiety, it might trigger a migraine headache.
Right.
Sleep disturbances, where sometime I may suffer from insomnia if my brain doesn't shut down, and I do. That means I'm really tired, but my brain is still going 100 miles an hour.
Okay.
So yes, I do suffer with some of these symptoms. But
Okay.
you know what I would like to say though about this is that some of these things for anxiety almost seem like they would come under the umbrella of schizophrenia. Most definitely, because I know a couple of people who have suffered from have been diagnosed with schizophrenia, and some of these very same symptoms are some of the symptoms that they were dealing with to a higher degree.
Okay. I never even looked at it like that. And I guess that does make sense that there will always be some diagnosis. And they were talking about that, I think, when we first started off, about how some things probably need to get some type of treatment for it.
Yeah, chronic. That word
Yes.
chronic is what takes it to a different level.
Yes. And sometimes we don't even think about that these things are important enough to get some type of treatment for. Like, we might just kind of brush it off, or we make it normal, or say that everybody go through certain things, but that doesn't mean that someone doesn't have these feelings, and it's a continual, that it doesn't require some type of treatment to get in a better position.
Right. And I would also say, too, that this is something that if you're not careful, it will work in silence and then it'll creep up on you. I was talking to someone not too long ago, and they had expressed to me that they had been handcuffed before. And I'm like, what do you mean you've been handcuffed before? And they had said that they had had a nervous breakdown. So I asked them, I said, well, why did they handcuff you? And she said that, well, she was out of control and they could not get her to settle down. So they had to do that. And all of this stemmed not from nothing that someone had done at that moment, but this was an ongoing issue that had just built up like a zit and just popped.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So did she ever get any type of assistance?
Yes.
Okay.
Because of the handcuffing, she was taken, to a psych ward. Let me say that, psych ward, which is really not a dirty word. It's a really good word for your mental health.
Yes. Yes. Because our mental health, I know everybody talks about spiritual health, but I believe there should be a balance with everybody. There should be a balance with mental health, physical health, spiritual health, social health, and emotional health, because I think that without all of them, you can kind of keep falling back without actually getting yourself better. I just recommend, or anybody that wants to have a bigger picture, verywellmind.com is I think it's like a psychologist professional website where they give their input on certain things. I'm not advocating for anybody. I just felt like it was a help for me in the past. Actually, if it's in your desire to get more information about some of these issues, perhaps it will lead you to want to go into treatment or not feel like it's such a bad thing, or maybe they have things up there that can be of self-help and some types of remedies or things that you can utilize that will be a benefit for your life. So I just pray that you might take an opportunity to just check it out, okay? Well, you guys have a good one and be blessed.
Be blessed.